All right. Good afternoon. It is Thursday, or a different day here. May 8th, 2025. Ron Hart and Brandon Cooley. We are Draft Nights. We are back. Yeah. Recording a little bit later in the week. I'm making a promise to myself this will still go up before the weekend. So, a lot to get into. A big recent games. So, let's knock out the beer stuff. You went first last time. I will go first this time. All right.
Sounds
So, I
good.
get.
And let me apologize. Hang on real quick. Let me apologize to everybody that it's going up a day late. I got invited to golf yesterday, and I have a really hard time saying no to golf. So we had to push an extra day. So my apologies. All right, tell us
Yep.
about your beer.
Because the world revolves around Brandon and his golf outings. So,
As long as you know that, we'll be good.
yep. So this wasn't the first and won't be the last. So this is Community's Citrus Slice. This is my favorite beer right now. I tried it. I think I tried it at the brewery, and I mean, obviously, I loved it. And now I see it in stores, so I'm like picking it up everywhere that I can. So it is an IPA. I don't. It's not a hazy, but it doesn't taste like a West Coast either. It's like somewhere in the middle, but it is very, very, very citrus forward. And the hops don't. I feel like the citrus piece of it keeps the hops from being overpowering, like you would taste in a lot of other IPAs, and that's what people don't like about them. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is my favorite beer right now. So I picked up this batch on Friday, and I've been slowly drinking them, and I'm down to two now. But it's a fantastic beer, and we harp on Community all the time. But they do great stuff, even though you shit on them last week. But I'm going to take this opportunity to redeem, and get our sponsorship back with Community because this is a damn good beer, and I will be drinking a lot of it probably the rest of the summer, honestly, because it's going to be a good summer beer. So, what do you got?
Look, if community wants to sponsor us, we will drink their beer every time. That'd be fine. We can make that happen. But until then, I'm going to bring the facts. All right. So this week, I am drinking something very light and crisp and delicious. East Cider's Texas Honey Hard Cider. I mean, it's everything you want in cider. It is appley. Oh, it's crisp, and the honey gives some sweetness. Incredibly easy to drink. Nice warm weather beer, and it's made with real fruit. So, you can't go wrong with that. It's only 5% ABV, so it's, in line with a basic beer or seltzer, but super delicious. I like the artwork on it. It's got like actually, it says the bee. I can't tell if that's a bee or a wasp. I don't know. I don't know my animals, but it looks a little more angry than a honeybee, but I've been wrong before. But really good. Back in the day before I started drinking beer, all I would drink was Angry Orchard cider. That was my go-to beverage because I didn't like the taste of beer yet. And then I became a man and started drinking beer.
Yeah, we were just talking about this prior to the pod, but yeah, I really love the taste of Red's apple ale. I don't even know. I assume it's still around.
Mhm.
But yeah, I could never drink more than one of them, so I couldn't, I ended up not buying them very often. But Angry Orchard was pretty similar to me and the fact that I loved them. But yeah, it's really hard to down a six pack, right, or whatever you need to get a good buzz or get drunk or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Man, if I see honey though on any beer, I'm just out. I'm immediately out. Like it's yeah, I'm
Really?
just like I'm immediately moving on to the next one. I can't do it, man. I don't know. I feel like it's dehydrating as hell. Like I need to drink like two waters if I drink one of those.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I see honey on a beer, I'm buying it. I'm snagging that bad boy up and we're gonna drink it. I think honey is just such a good sweetener. I also really like mead, which
Hmm.
is traditionally a honey-based wine.
Hmm.
And so if you don't like, yeah, honey, you probably don't like mead.
I actually do like mead, but again, it's one of those things it's the same phylum for me where I can't drink many of them, right? Like it is hard again with mead, like it's hard to drink like more than one or two.
So I'm gonna challenge you to something.
Okay.
Next summer, when Scarborough Fair comes back, because I believe this weekend's the final weekend, or maybe last weekend was, doesn't matter. Next year, I go every year. You need to come with. And they serve mead on the fairgrounds, and I drink my body weight in that and have no problem. And then I'm absolutely slammered by the end of the day. So you should come with and do that because it's a good time.
Scarborough Fair is the nerd thing where everyone dresses up and
Whoa, hang on now. Okay, you're not wrong. Yeah, it's pretty nerdy. Yeah, you dress up in garb, so I'm head to toe Scottish Highlander. That's a good time. Yeah, I have a kilt. I've got the
Where's
whole
the
thing.
pictures?
It's they're out there. They're out there. I'll try. You know what? I'll track one down in a second, and I'll show everybody. But yeah, no, it's a good time. I actually the first time I grew out my beard was specifically for Scarborough Fair.
Do you use the accent?
Oh God, no, no. I could try, and I have tried. I can get probably 3 or 4 words out, and then it's gone. Then I just sound like I feel like either like a really redneck or Wisconsin style accent somehow takes over. So then I just avoid
A
it.
lot of people do, right? Like they're in full, like 100%
Oh yeah,
character.
yeah, especially the people that work there. The people that work there in the Friends Affair, they are in it. So not only just from like a visual and audible sound standpoint, but also like if they see you using their phone, they're like, what is that magical thing? You know, they really delve into the period and everything that goes along with it. Dude, it's a ton of fun, man. It's a ton of fun. The first time I went, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I went to a costume shop and told the lady what I needed, and I don't know if she was just trying to be a jerk or if she thought it would be a good idea, but she dressed me as Aragorn with the full King of Gondor, white tree, everything. And I got made fun of by everybody. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you repping Lord of the Rings? Like this is there's a day out there called the Day of Wrong where you can dress up as whatever you want, Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, whatever. Nothing is off the table. But every other day you're supposed to try to stick to period. So that's when I learned very quickly. All right, my wife likes guys in kilts. I'll be a Scottish Highlander, and that's how that all came about.
Supposed to stick to period. So what period?
Renaissance, medieval times, stuff like
And Lord of
that.
the Rings doesn't count as
Nah, because it's fantasy, man. There's not like a actual year. It's the age of men, right? So
it's the third
that's not
age.
a
That's a period.
yeah, right. But correlate that to real life and planet Earth, not Middle Earth.
Hmm. I mean, it's okay. It's like to me based in the same, right? It's based
Sure.
one influence the other, like okay, that's interesting. I don't know that I'd be able to tell the difference, but okay, I got to get down there then.
Most people, y'all dudes, a blast, freaking blast. Actually, real quick, we've never talked about this. You Lord of the Rings guy?
Big time.
Oh, we have talked
Big
about
time.
this because we were talking about my flight to Japan, and I said I always watch Lord of the Rings anytime I'm on a long flight, all 3 movies. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to get into that some point in time where we just break down the best battles. You know,
Hell yeah.
oh, I'd be here for that.
Um,
Dude, there's so much about Lord of the Rings, like in the Silmarillion, that I just didn't know. Like I've heard things about the lore and whatnot, but that I just didn't realize went so deep. And I spent probably like 3 weeks in TikTok of just going. This one guy, he has a full lifeline of like whenever, like before the times of like when Gandalf first got to Earth, like before all that leading up. It was just so cool, so cool.
um, agreed. I mean, it's yeah. I probably end up going down the wormhole at least once a quarter. Where I'm going down Wikipedia researching, what happened to the Blue Wizards or whatever it is. For my birthday last year, my buddy got me the illustrated version of The Hobbit. I have it by my bedside right now. It's one of the coolest things I've ever gotten. Just absolutely sick. And then yeah, I've been Gandalf the last two Halloweens. So yeah, and I mean, Lord of the Rings has always gonna have a special place, but I'm big in all things fantasy. So I'm right now I'm in the middle of the Wheel of Time. I don't even know what book I'm on. Six, seven. There's so many damn books. Also in another series called and Book of the Fallen. I'm on book shit. I don't know. I think four on that one. So yeah, I'm all things fantasy all the time. So yeah, the nerd stuff appeals to me. I've never been to any of those types of things. I watched a documentary last year. I don't know if you saw this about the one that's in between here and Houston. Um,
Next Renaissance
that one.
Fair, PRF.
Did you see that doc?
Mhm.
It's
Nope, but we
sick,
are planning on going in October.
dude. That documentary is sick. One of my favorite things that came out last year. Highly recommend for a peek behind the scenes there. This guy's like a real. He's it literally is a real life succession, and he's what's his name, Logan Roy. It is literally that in real life. It's freaking mind blowing. A great documentary. I think they're filming a follow up. I don't know, but I want to go to that one too. So okay, I think we've nerded out enough. I'm gonna have to add a section on nerd talk when we upload this to warn everybody. But that was fun. We need to do more of this. Okay, switching gears. I'd say the biggest. Well, this was. I don't even know. I don't know which one's bigger. We'll start with Stars. So you didn't see Game Seven because you're not a true Stars fan. But me being the Stars fan, I watched the
Okay,
whole thing,
here we go.
and that was the sickest game I've ever seen in my life. So what an experience. I flipped over. So there was an NBA game prior to that that sucked. It was a complete blowout and was a complete disappointment. I think it was Golden. I don't know. So, but I flipped over to the Stars, and so we enter the third period. They're down 2-0. They're lifeless, and they got kind of dominated for like the first half of the third period. So so Ottinger was over there fighting for his life, and I was like, okay, they're done. And then Miko flipped a switch, said, we ain't going down this way, put the team on his back, and had the most insane final 10 minutes I've ever seen in a hockey game. Holy shit, man. That is I'm trying to think back to like performances, in the NBA, there's been a couple LeBron games like this. I mean, in the NFL, you think of, some of the Brady playoff games but it's really hard,
Mhm.
man, to like come up with good comps for times where somebody just said, F it, right? We are not going to lose. We're not going to lose. Get on my back. I'm going to carry us home. And that's what he did, man. So he had what, 3 goals and an assist in the final 10 minutes,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
against his former team, and put them away in heartbreaking fashion in Game 7. What a series, man! What a great way to open the playoffs.
I agree, man. Game seven was a lot of fun to watch. And one stat that was really funny is the Avs now have lost six straight game sevens. Six consecutive game seven appearances.
We should have bet money,
And
right?
the
Yes,
Stars,
because the Stars.
we should the coach has never lost a
Right.
game seven. So he's, I think, 7 for 7. So I mean, the Stars had already been pre-written on what was going on here. The Stars, I didn't mean to make that joke. Anyways, it was predestined. It was going to happen. But yeah, Miko, you're right. It was very Tom Brady against the Falcons, 28-3, going into the last quarter of the game, and then just saying, you know what, here we go. We're going to win this game. He willed them to that victory. And, that was a wonderful building point because you're right, that wrapped up the series really nicely. It was a great offensive production by him, but he's just been so solid since we picked him up. And there's so much complaining and griping. Oh, we should have gone with a defender. We should have gone with better defense. This doesn't make sense. We've already got offensive production. I don't think if Miko wasn't in the mix, first of all, we wouldn't have gone to Game 7 to begin with the Avs. But secondly, that type of performance could have happened. But then he goes into game one and decides to drop a back-to-back hat trick. I mean, the dude cannot be stopped, and he did it in the middle of the second
Yep.
period. He is just on fire. I think he really is trying to make a statement that the Stars made a good decision by investing in
Yeah.
him and showing his old team this is what you let walk.
Yeah. You're no, you're exactly right. I mean, so I got to go to bed early because that game was over, and yeah, he picked up right where he left off, and this time against, I mean, you can argue who the best team is. They were the 1 seed. They just came out just like the Stars just came out of a 7-game war where they were also looked like they were going to lose, and
Yep.
and so they somehow came back, and they're just they're a damn good team, but Colorado is a damn good team, and so he just keeps rolling. So I do wonder, obviously no one can sustain this pace, but it is good to see, just what kind of flow that he's in. And now the Stars are getting guys back, right? They're actually gaining
Yeah.
some depth. They're getting, they're now there's a chance they can reach another level, and it's happening at the perfect time.
Especially with Robertson coming
Hmm.
back, that is going to be a big, big benefit to this team on both sides of the ice, and I'm very excited. Yeah, because I think you're right. I think that once we're back to full strength and the entire team, especially with Sagan coming back recently, I'm very excited for. And I said this before the finals even started. I thought that the Stars had everything they had or everything they needed to take this the entire length. So I'm really hoping. And what would be exciting to see in the finals would be the Stars versus the Canes because Miko also played for the Hurricanes. And so I think that would be just that extra punctuation for him to say, you know what, I'm going to beat the shit out of both my former teams and help the Stars win. Which I know that's a little greedy. We just won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago, but I'm never going to turn down a couple extra championships if we can get them.
Yeah, I mean, so, uh, just where they're at right now, you have to feel like momentum's on their side. And so there's
Mhm.
energy. There's energy back in Dallas. You can definitely feel it. I think we both mentioned possibly trying to go to a game. I'm definitely going to try to go to one. We'll see. But, shout out to the AAC because that place was rocking for Game 7. One of the craziest environments I've ever seen. I wasn't in the building, but just watching it on TV, man, what an atmosphere. I've seen it like that for, some playoff games I've been to, some high level NBA games, but it was it's quite the scene. So I'd love to get down there. So yeah, I mean, you take game one, you have to feel pretty good about the rest of the series. I mean, I assume you're taking the Stars to win.
I'm taking the Stars. It's probably gonna be a 7 game set. I can't imagine that the Jets are just gonna lay over, especially since they were the 1 seed. They are a very complete team. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see a sweep, but I think anything less than 6 is probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, taking game one on the road, I don't know what the percentages work out to, but I know it is in your favor at that point, right? So now all you got to do is just take care of home ice, and the series is yours. And you're moving on to the
I mean,
final.
part of me wants it to go 7 games though, because the history with coach. That's it just seems. But is that one of those things where let's not tempt fate? If it's game 7 comes around, great, but let's not hope for it.
Eventually, things regress to the mean. Man, you'd have to wonder at some point if these guys would start to gas out. But you know, for entertainment
You,
purposes,
you,
I'm all in.
you have to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to think that they're going to get gas just because, I mean, hockey is such a high impact constant. It's very similar to soccer in that regard. Like, of course, there's more line changes and there's not quite as much running, but still, it's a lot. But then continuing the hockey trend, so the Leafs are leading the lead. Excuse me, the Leafs are beating the Panthers right now 2-0 in their series. So I imagine that that's probably going to trend that way. I think everything else is tied up 1-1. I'd have to, or 1-0. I'd have to go back and check everything, but that was the notables that the Leafs are up 2-0.
dang, I had another point and then I brain farted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, some of the other series are, I mean, Edmonton versus the Vegas Knights is, I haven't gotten a chance to watch. I think they play tonight actually, but I need to get some of that series because that is really high level hockey also. And my buddy thinks that he thinks Edmonton's actually probably like the biggest threat to the Stars in
Hmm.
terms of, potentially completing the Stanley Cup run. So I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'd be scared of either of those teams, honestly. But I mean, it's not easy to win a championship for a reason. Okay. Anything else on Stars or hockey?
Capitals beat the Canes on game
Okay.
one. That
Yep.
that Capitals are so good. Ovechkin's so good. I mean, he's long in the tooth, but he can still freaking produce. But no, I think that's all I want to talk about on hockey. Where are we going next?
I mean, the second biggest piece of news for us, I'd say for most people, this is the biggest thing that has happened in the Metroplex. Maybe it's the Luka trade, but the Cowboys made a move, somewhat anticipated move, but for somebody that I think was a surprise to both of us. So they have traded for George Pickens. So he comes over from Pittsburgh. I think the haul was a third rounder and a fifth round pick swap. Um, or maybe it was just a fifth rounder. I don't know. Something like that. So George Pickens comes from Pittsburgh. He's in the last year of his deal. He has said that he's seeking big time money, and he intends to play this season out with the hopes of earning big time money. So, man, I think you're a little bit higher on this than me, so I'll let you go first and give your thoughts on the trade.
Yeah, so I think the trade equity was great. So yeah, we traded a third round 2026 pick and a fifth round 2027 pick. So already that's a win in regards to what we gave away for Mingo last season. And then take it back a few years before that, getting rid of Amari Cooper for a fifth rounder. I mean, so from a draft capital standpoint, this trade was already significantly better. But yeah, George Pickens, 24 years old. I mean, he's still super young. He does maybe have some locker room, some personality issues, but that, look at Pittsburgh. That's what they do. Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant, Chase Claypool. Like, yeah, that's what they do. They have off the rails, mentally distressed wide receivers. So whatever. We already tried Martavius Bryant thing once upon a time, and he played, I think, one game for us. Whatever. George Pickens. I'd say he's top 10 receiver in the entire league. Possibly has the best hands in the league. He has Odell Beckham in his prime type hands. So what I think this does for the Cowboys from an attack standpoint is you've got CD who's going to be able to play slot. He's going to be able to line up against the Sam, the nickel back. He's going to be able to line up against all the guys underneath, playing the over routes, playing the under routes, and playing all the crossers. He'll of course be able to go deep if he needs to, but he's going to be able to attack the middle of the field where the defensive backs are going to have a lot of gaps in play, especially if they don't have good linebackers. Then you got Pickens on the other side because CD's been double teamed. He's been bracketed and double teamed because we really haven't had a threat on the other side of the field. It's been Devontae Turpin and Cedric Wilson and some other just the guy wide receivers, like nobody worth a threat, right? So now you got George Pickens, who not only has great hands, but he's physical and he is a deep ball 50-50 guy. He is very Des Bryant in that standpoint that you throw the ball to him, he's going to get it. Last year, he led the league in receiving yards on deep balls and deep ball catches, like yards, catches, and everything else. So he had 999 yards, I think, in deep ball receptions, and he was hurt for 4 games. So you got a 1,000 yard receiving guy hurt 4 games, and he's super young. And yes, to your point, he wants to play for a big contract. What that's going to look like is who knows? Only because we just paid CD a boatload of money. We just paid Dak a boatload of money. And fortunately, we don't have any running backs to pay because we got 2 young guys. But I think the Cowboys have the ability, should everybody stay healthy, to have the most offense or the most balanced offense that we've had in a while because I think our offensive line, yeah, we got a bunch of young guys, but I think they're going to really mesh this year. I think Guyton's going to come into his own. Last year, he struggled with some holding penalties and false starts, a lot of pre-snap stuff. I think we're going to see that go away. We've got the running back, and there's also rumors that the Cowboys are going to go after Nick Chubb. So that brings a veteran presence, maybe help these young guys learn how to play the NFL game. But I'm really excited about this offense. The question, biggest question, as it is every year's quarterback play, is Dak going to be the Dak that we know him to be, great regular season guy, shitty in the playoffs, or is it going to be hurt Dak, or is it going to be a new version of Dak? He did drop 20, almost 30 pounds this offseason. So what are we going to see out of him from quarterback play? There's a lot of questions there, but I have very, very high hopes that we will be a 12-win team this season.
Okay, grade the trade.
A plus. I give this trade A plus.
I'm writing
Only
this down.
only because let me explain why. Only because of the draft. You and I were convinced we were taking wide receiver in the first round. And we were like, why the hell did they not take a first? Why didn't they take wide receiver? Second round comes and goes, no wide receiver. The entire draft goes, no wide receiver. And so you and I were scratching our heads saying, what the hell are they doing? Clearly, this was something that they had in the works. So I give the front office an A plus on this acquisition because I think they knew that they had this in their bag all along, but they didn't leak it. And that's huge for the Cowboys and Jerry Jones not to tip their hand and show what's happening. So from a secretive standpoint, from an execution standpoint, and just overall trade equity standpoint, I give it an A plus.
Well,
Do you have a differing opinion?
yeah, we're pretty far apart.
Oh shit! Let's
Let
hear
me
it.
let me just ask. So, a couple points you made. One, the comparison to Des Bryant. So I
Mhm.
agree. I do think they're similar specimens in how they play, what their strengths are, and kind of the role they fill in the field. Um, Now, but the issue to me is that Dak struggled getting the ball to Dez. So is that not a concern? Like I think that's this type of receiver, the guy that needs the 50-50 jump balls, they're not going to get wide open, right? So, I mean, do we trust that Dak is that the type of guy that fits the best with Dak? That's where I have doubts. So, I mean, is there something you see that's like, no, I'm cool with that?
No, I think that's a really, really good point, and you're right. But I think that maybe the difference is, and of course I can't speak to this because I haven't watched a ton of like Pickens' true like who he is. Of course, Dez, I was a huge fan because he was a cowboy, but Dez was also very screamy, "Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball." And I don't know if Pickens is going to be like that because Dez also didn't really have a good number two receiver on the other side of the field for the most part. And so it was so in Romo and Dez's connection was so just better than most people that are quarterback wide receiver. There's only a handful of those. Brady and Gronk. Let's see who's another. Jalen Hurts and Antonio and AJ Brown. Like there's a few of those that are really really good. And Romo and Dez had that. And I think whenever Romo left and Dak just didn't have the same touch on the fade, the same trust to just throw up the ball. Because Dak also isn't as much of a gunslinger as Romo was. Romo was like, fuck it, Dez is down there somewhere. I'm throwing it. Right. Dak wasn't at that point in his rookie year or even his second season. So I think that's where a lot of that's different. Dak has grown as a quarterback. I still do think that he's risk averse to a degree, but I think if the running game is as good as it is with these two new rookies, I think that's gonna really allow Dak to do a little bit more maybe with the downfield throws. But I could be completely off base.
Okay. And then the other point that you mentioned, so there's a long line of history of what's happening with Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers. You mentioned Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams. Not a single one of those guys went on to do a single damn thing after they left Pittsburgh. History is not on our side here. This does not bode well for George Pickens. This is very bad in terms of precedent. Is that concerning?
I believe a very wise CPA friend of mine said that it will regress to the mean. And in this particular instance, I mean, this is, you could be completely right. It may be the exact same situation where they go to another team and they are just dog shit. That is absolutely possible. I can't dismiss that. I don't think that's going to happen here because he's so young. All these other guys have been older. Antonio Brown clearly had some CTE issues. He took a lot bigger hits. That's one thing that Pickens hasn't really experienced yet is getting big hits to the head. Granted, he was hurt last year, but not with a head injury. So I think that definitely plays a factor. But I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. I think this one might break that mold. I think it's just unfortunate that that's been the Steelers' history. I think they've just been horribly unlucky because when you look around the league, you don't have that situation plaguing any other teams. Not that I can think of. If you've got any examples, I would love to hear them because I was thinking about it earlier today and could not think of another team that's had the same wide receiver mental instability issues as the Steelers have over the years.
Yeah, I was trying to think through that. I mean, I don't know, right? Like, I think maybe they are a little bit more, or they have been a little bit more willing to take on these types of guys because their locker room and their leadership and just the Pittsburgh Steelers culture is so strong that I think they feel like they can deal, they can get these guys to conform a little bit to what that is. And that's what concerns me because it's like, okay, Steelers are a top flight organization. These guys come in and yeah, they might have some issues, but for the most part, things are okay. And then these guys leave Pittsburgh and immediately it just goes to shit because other teams don't have this kind of culture. And the Cowboys, culture wise, I would rate as pretty poor. Leadership pretty poor. I mean, brand new coaching staff. I'm like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say this is a better situation than any of those other guys went into. So that part concerns me too. So I don't know. George Pickens, he probably, aside from Antonio Brown, is the most talented of those guys. And you're right to say that he's probably younger. I mean, Claypool and Deontay were pretty young too, but I think he was a year or two younger than any of those guys. So it's a little bit of a different situation. But I to say that that there's no cause for concern. Like Mike Tomlin said, I don't want this guy around anymore. Um, I mean that's like that's a decent, that tells me there's a decent chance this doesn't work out. But I don't know, but it might because he is ultra talented, no doubt about it. You mentioned all the things you mentioned are right. He has a great catch radius. He is extremely physical. I think he set the NFL record his rookie year where he caught the most contested catches ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we should also note that his quarterbacks have been complete ass. ever since he's been in the league, and he's still produced. So, the one point, he is a diva. He does want the ball. He will throw a fit. There's no doubt about that. In that way, he is exactly like Des. But I mean, what we saw CD Lamb chewing out Dak, on the sidelines last year. That's what these guys do, right?
Mhm.
Jamar Chase, like all of these guys, that's what they're gonna do. Just is what it is, right? I'm not so concerned with that piece. But yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? He's not a great route runner. He wins more on, what's that saying that Chad Ochocinco said? He's like, even when I'm not open, I'm open. That's
Yep.
that's George Pickens. There is an element as a quarterback where you're like, damn it, he's down there somewhere, right? Let me just go. Let me just give him a chance. And so he's
Yep.
that type of receiver. He's playing for a new deal, so he's going to be ultra motivated. So there's upside here, which is good, right? You want that as part of any deal. There's more downside that I would like, but at the end of the day, me and you have been asking for the Cowboys to address this. We were just talking about this last week. We're like, I remember specifically saying, I don't think there's any way the Cowboys can seriously think they can go into training camp not having addressed the wide receiver two position. They went out and addressed it, so I can't bitch too much about it. But I mean, overall, I grade the trade a C because I just think there's a lot of downside here. The draft compensation. The issue that I have is like, well, then why did you trade a fourth last year for Mingo? If you were going to do this, right? Like that's the disastrous part to me. And I don't know, man. Like sometimes I'm just like, I wish I could be this incompetent at my job and still get highly compensated because that is incredibly frustrating. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're here. It's a big piece. I think we mentioned they need three pieces, right, to be considered a serious contender. Wide receiver two, defensive line, and what did we say? Corner?
Yep.
They addressed.
And which brings up, they haven't yet, but along with the Nick Chubb rumors, there is rumbling saying that they're going after Jair Alexander.
Yeah,
And I think he'd be a great piece into this defensive backfield. I think he
yeah,
could be the cornerback that we need, especially while Stephon Diggs is on the mend. I think him and Bland could be a pretty good one too. But before we get to that, I do want to counter one thing you said, or not counter, but I guess kind of build off of it. So you said that he had trash quarterbacks,
yep,
Pickens that is, and one thing that you didn't mention that neither of us brought up is that he didn't have any other wide receiver help on that team.
sure,
He was
sure,
it. Their receiving core was
sure.
trash. And so if I'm George Pickens and I'm the best threat on the field, I'm also going to be screaming to get me the ball because if you're throwing, check downs to the wide or to the running backs and trying to hit little, low crossers or hitch routes, yeah, I'm the big guy. Throw it down here. Give me a chance. Let's get some points. So I think that's why we may not see as much of that because he knows he's coming in as a second best guy. CD Lamb's a better receiver than him.
He is. I don't know if he knows that or believes that. He will throw a fit, man. Like we saw this. Like we saw it last year. Like he would give up on routes and he would literally do all kinds of shit on the field if he wasn't getting the ball as much as he thought he should be. So
That's a good point. But I have a question for you. So, who was his quarterback last year?
it was Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
Correct. Trash and old, right? Or old and trash, whichever way you want to go with
Yeah.
that. Dak Prescott, with nothing else to say about the man, is one of the greatest locker room guys and leaders I've seen that leads a huddle. People buy into him. They believe in what he stands for, who he is, and what he is as a quarterback and leader. So maybe Dak will be able to be a positive impression on this guy. And of course, you can't take that completely out of him. That's just part of being a wide receiver, especially a top 10 in the league. You have that diva mentality. But I'm of the opinion that Dak will be able to help maybe shape him a little bit. Or if nothing else, let's say he doesn't. It's his last year on his contract. We don't have to keep him. Let his contract be done at the end of the year and move away. We didn't trade that much for him. It was a third round pick that we lost, and then we got a sixth round pick back anyways. So it really wasn't that big of a loss if he doesn't work out.
Yeah. I guess let me ask this. Is there a huge difference between last year's Russell Wilson and last year's Dak?
Like from a player standpoint, I mean, Russell Wilson, he was hurt at the beginning of the year, came back and played. Dak played like what 4 games and missed the rest of the season. So, I mean, I think the sample size for last year is too small, but I would say they're pretty similar. from build ability. I think Russell Williams has much better arm strength than Dak. I think he's more accurate passer. I mean, fuck, he's better on the run. He's a better quarterback than Dak. If you took Russell in his prime and Dak in his prime, I'd take
Oh
Russell every
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man. I mean, the Dak that we've seen lately, I don't know that there's that much of a difference, right, between him and present day Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson, the problem with him is that he's just become ultra conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And you said Dak's
As
risk.
quarterbacks do as they get
Yeah,
older.
right. And Dak has been more, and this is why he didn't work well with Dez, was that he was risk averse. He's gotten less risk averse, but that has turned into him throwing a lot of picks. So I don't know. I just don't know what we're going to see from Dak this year. It's hard to judge anything based off that. So yeah, I don't know, man. The other thing, I think the Cowboys' plan A was drafting Tetairoa McMillan in the first round. I think that was plan A. When that didn't
Agreed.
happen, this was plan B. And so, again, that leads to my C rating because I'm just like, well, if you idiots wouldn't have won meaningless games last year, guess what? You would have been in a position to draft McMillan and your plan A would have worked. But instead, here we are with plan B, and we have to deal with the downside of that, right? And we don't, if he does work out, then we got to pay him a fortune. If he doesn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
we're out the third rounder. And depending on, we could get that back via comp pick. I don't know. But,
Right.
the better solution to me was like put yourself in a position to draft the guy you want, and then you would have had team control for 4 years. But whatever, man. Bygones, you gotta let those go. But yeah, I rated a C. I'm actually taking note of this because I want to revisit this when we're at the end of the year and see who was spot on. I have some Cowboys friends that are actually absolutely going to destroy me if I'm wrong on this. So I might regret this actually.
Well, as they said. All right. So before we jump off the Pickens train, comparing to the other teams in the NFC
Yeah,
East from a wide receiver standpoint, the Giants don't really rank here because they don't have anybody. But the Commanders just acquired Debo,
yeah.
so they got McLaurin and Debo, and then the Eagles have Brown and
Devontae Smith.
Devontae. Devontae Smith. I was thinking Devontae Adams. Like that's not right. Yeah. So Smith and Brown, and then Samuel and McLaurin versus Pickens and CD. Who has the best wide receiver tandem?
I mean, in my mind, it's a pick 'em between Eagles and Cowboys. I think from a talent perspective, I think maybe Devontae Smith's been more consistent historically than George Pickens has. But again, like we haven't seen Pickens in this environment, so I'd say it's CD versus AJ Brown's a toss up to me. So I think it's a pick 'em. I think those are the top two. I think Pickens. I'd much rather have Pickens than Debo Samuel. I'll say that. And man, it's funny because actually the Giants might have the best wide receiver of all with Malik Neighbors. They don't have the number two. But
They can't use him well though, 'cause they don't have a good
yeah,
quarterback.
but that guy's a menace. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a pick 'em, man. I mean, from a weapon standpoint, you put yourself in contention in the NFC East for sure in my mind. So who would you take?
I'm still going with the Eagles.
Okay,
I think AJ is just too good. I mean, he has a lot of the same tangibles and measurables that CD has, but he is just big.
yeah,
And he is more physical and he's more demanding of a presence than just as a receiver. So
okay,
I give the nod to the Eagles on that one.
okay,
As much of a homer as I am, I can also, say where someone's better.
okay. I won't fight you on that, man. Both are elite players. If we just think, okay, let's do this. So we're almost start getting ready for the fantasy season. So you would take AJ Brown above CD Lamb in the first round of your fantasy draft.
Yes, yes, I would. I did take CDs my first round pick last year and it paid dividends. But yes, that's because AJ Brown wasn't available.
Interesting. Okay. I don't think I would. I think I would take CD.
Think so?
Yeah.
Well, is it a PPR league or is it a yard? Because if it's PPR, I'm taking CD. He's going to get more catches.
Yeah. Either one. For me, it would be either. But
Really? Okay.
yeah.
So are we going to do a fantasy draft?
I hope so. I definitely hope so.
I mean, I'm gonna have to talk shit to you every week that I beat you because it's gonna happen. I mean, just be ready. I'm a winner, Ron. I'm a winner.
I could go get my fantasy championship belt and show you the goods, but I need to hang that bad boy up first.
But what? Yeah, you do. Oh, speaking of championship belts, Daryl Bowen decided that he's in charge of all the trophies and prizes for the golf tournament coming up on August 1st. And he decided that he's going to do championship belts instead of trophies.
This is for what? I don't know. I assume
The Master Network's charity
no,
tournament.
but I assume this is so what the best foursome gets belts.
Yeah, first, second, third. Well, probably first place will get the belt, and then second and third will get something else. But he was very adamant. He went to a tournament of this that he played in over the weekend, and that's what they did. He thought it was just super awesome. So he said that he is going to pivot from trophies to belts.
Is he eligible to win this belt?
He is.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's really good on the green. He is a good putter.
Well, that's one belt I know I have no chance at, so I'm not gonna sweat that one.
Okay, first of all, you're missing the point of a scramble, my friend. I was just having this conversation. It doesn't matter if you're playing against, four guys that are just good all the time. All it takes is four randos that one person hits one good shot each time, and you can win. So the scramble evens the field. So I'm a big fan. So don't cut yourself too short. I mean, you're right. There's one team that I think is going to absolutely crush everybody, and it's not mine, unfortunately, but it's okay. It's okay.
I'll let you guys worry about that. I might not even keep score that day. So that's my way of playing golf.
Look, you're there to have fun. It's for the kids.
Exactly.
So, everybody donate your money.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. All right. So that's a lot of football talk. Anything else we need to discuss regarding the NFL?
No, no, God, no.
All right. Where do you want to go next? NBA?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lots of playoff talk. Go ahead. Take this segment.
Uh,
Lead us
it's
off.
it's it's. I said this last week. This has been the best first round of my lifetime in terms of great games, game winners, and just fun as hell watchability. That's rolled right into the
Hmm.
second round for me. My God, man. I was watching the Celtics Knicks game yesterday. Celtics were up 20, and I'll be damned if the Knicks don't come back again and beat their ass on their home floor. They're up 2-0 against the defending champs and the two seed in the Eastern Conference. The Denver Nuggets is stunned OKC, stunned them in game one. I know I think they got blown out yesterday. I fell asleep, but it wasn't good when I was watching.
One 149, 106.
Yes, but still, I mean, 1-1, going back home, you got to be surprised by that. And then the Pacers, led by our good buddy Rick Carlisle, have stunned Cleveland. And I'll be damned if they didn't do a game winner. Tyrese Halliburton step back three to win the freaking game on Cleveland's home floor to also
Bastard.
go up 2-0. So the number one seed and the number two seeds in the Eastern Conference are down 0-2, about to go on the road. Man, I love the NBA. I love the playoffs. This is so much fun. I look forward, I literally can't wait every night to start firing up a game. So yeah, man, what's been your experience? You having as much fun as I am?
It is a lot of fun, and I agree. It's surprising that the Celtics are down 0-2. I thought it was going to be 1-1 across the board for all the teams, just like because that's how the West is right now. Both those games are tied up 1-1,
Yeah.
and I expect both those. Maybe the Thunder. I think the Thunder may run away in a 5-game set, but I think the Wolves and the Warriors go 7. At this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I can't imagine that the Celtics and the Cavs are just going to lay down. I cannot imagine it's going to happen. So I think over the next two games, we'll see both of them come back because you're right. The Celtics had good, comfortable leads. And I think they just fell asleep at the wheel on both those games. But the fact that they came back from 20-point deficits back to back, that's the first time since 1996 that that's happened. And Brunson has just been clutch. I still get angry. I still get so angry that he's not a Maverick, which maybe it wouldn't matter anyways because Lucas still would have been traded because Nico was going to get rid of him no matter what, which it sounds like he's going to be. He had just told the press, he just had a meeting with Palinka, and he told the press that he wants to be a Laker forever. So I think he's going to take that same loyalty he had for the Mavericks, and it's been displaced to the Lakers, and we get to watch him in purple and gold for the rest of the next 15, maybe 20 years. So that sucks so bad, but whatever. We don't need to talk about that because they're not in this right now.
Man.
But no, it's been fun basketball. That's the best way you can put it. Is it's been fun.
Yeah, I agree. It still hurts to watch Brunson do what he's doing, and just think about what could have been. But really happy for him.
Mhm.
I do think if there's one team that can come back, I do think it's the Celtics. They've been horrendous from three. That's what they're known for, right? They've been the best and they shoot the
Mhm.
most threes. I think they set a record this year, and they've been bad. And Jason Tatum specifically has been horrible. And he's taken some really shitty
Mhm.
shots. He was terrible in the fourth quarter of both of those games. To me, he's not getting enough shit for how bad he's been. And so I think if he wasn't on the super team, he wouldn't be. He's good, man. I don't think he's superstar like a level player in this league, but I could see them come back.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I kind of think of that of him and Brown, right? I'm like, if you guys didn't have 10 high level teammates, I do wonder what y'all would be. Um, but collectively,
So you don't consider Tatum a top 10 player?
yeah, but he's back end of that.
Okay.
I don't consider him top five. Yeah,
Okay.
he's back end of that. But at the end of the day, they have a really good team. So I could see them coming back, right? I could see the Knicks starting to run out of gas. Their bench sucks. Starters play a ton of minutes. Brunson plays a ton of minutes. I could see them running out of gas if the Celtics are able to right the ship a little bit and take, a game or two. So we've seen this before, man. I would not be shocked at all if after 4 games that series is 2-2. Um, Cleveland's Cleveland's a deep shit because I said it all along. I was like, I need to see them against top level competition before I believe. And so we're already like, yeah, they're in rough seas. Part of it is injuries. So, I mean, they were missing two of their three best players for game two. So I can't put it all on them. I don't know if those guys are coming back. I think they are. So they have a chance too, right? If they get some players back and they could have a chance to right the ship. But man, overall, it's just been an awesome run, and I'm here for it, man. I hope it all continues. I hope all these series go seven because I don't have a rooting interest. I just want
Mhm.
fun basketball. One bit of NBA news. So the Dallas Mavericks, as I sent this to you, Nico Harrison fired his health staff
Yeah,
last night. Thoughts?
because I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, this is the last of the remaining staff members from the Casey Smith guard, that started getting offloaded before Luca, and that's what kind of perpetuated this whole thing. So to say I'm shocked is I'm not. It makes complete sense with everything else that Nico's trying to do, and whatever. I mean, I'd say that coaching staff doesn't matter that much, but we'll talk in just a second about how important coaching can be with whenever we talk about the Rangers in baseball. But I don't care. Like this is one of those things that like you and I are both in that same spot of just being so disenfranchised with the Mavericks team that it doesn't really matter what they do from a coaching perspective or personnel, like player personnel perspective, because it just doesn't matter anymore. Like this next year, I'm gonna watch games. I'm gonna, inevitably root for them to win most cases, but like whatever.
I just wanted to
The apathy is starting to set in.
Yeah, I just think it's notable because one of those guys was Nico's guy, and we are what, a week away, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, where they interviewed Nico and asked why they brought these guys in, and he said they were better. Um, and then he fires one of them 2 weeks later. After the story breaks that, hey, these guys don't get along. They almost ended Derek Lively's career, and one of them doesn't even have the certifications required to be in his position. And Nico defended them, and then not even 2 weeks later, he fires them. So he's just. I mean, I don't know why they allow this to continue, right? Like this guy's out here just lying to people. Clearly, is incompetent, and they're just continuing to let him run the team. It's just freaking mind blowing. But yeah, I don't want to get too deep into
Or
that.
or Or, I mean, is it him that's pulling the strings? Because you're right. If you make a decision and 2 weeks later you completely about face, is that something that a normal person would do, or is that something that ownership or somebody above him would say, you know what, I actually don't like that move. You did it without full consent, permission, whatever. Turn it around. Who knows?
It would-
The front office puts a wreck. There's no way to know who's in charge, who's making what calls. Like I said,
It,
the apathy has completely set in for me, and especially now that the Mavericks are out and Luca is out, like the Mavericks are so far in my review mirror right now that I'm not paying much attention to anything they do.
yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I almost like to pretend that it's actually, Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Pooh Bear and all like that's who's really running the team right now. Because that's like the types of things that have happened and the decisions that they're making. That's kind of what the result is. So last thing, NBA, and this actually isn't even technically NBA. Man, I'm jumping on the Dallas Wings bandwagon. I think I'm just switching from the Mavs.
Are
Oh,
you
yeah.
really?
Yeah, I am, man. I'm getting hyped. I'm getting excited. I'm gonna go to some games. I might buy a Beckers jersey. And I think I'm taking my fandom away from the Mavs, and I think I'm jumping on the Wings bandwagon. Have you seen how much ticket prices are for the game at the AAC?
I have not, but I've watched how popular, like the media and the whoever's the PR and marketing person for the Wings, A+ rating. They are killing it because I'm seeing them everywhere. I've never seen this much talk about WNBA in any regard, let alone the local team. So kudos to whoever's in charge of that because they're doing a fantastic job. But no, what are the ticket prices running?
So for the game at the AAC, now this is notable because that's the game they play against the Fever. So Caitlin Clark, so it's
Caitlin
huge.
Clark.
But get in price is about $200 right now for nosebleeds at the
No kidding.
AAC, man. Not where they usually play. They usually play in Arlington. This is a special game. They're playing
Right.
at the AAC, so 20,000 person capacity. The get-in price is $200, man. This thing is real. There is big, 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 big hype right now about the Dallas Wings. Now, my
You know,
Mike, one question to you. So, it's been well reported that you hate women. Would you consider going to a Wings game?
uh, wait a second. When have I have what I need some context here. When have I ever said I hate women?
Yeah, I think that was Easy or Froggy that told me that.
Exactly. I've got a wife. I've got two daughters. I have two sisters and four nieces. And two girl dogs. I'm surrounded by women. I can't do anything but love them, or they would kill me alive. Anyways, and what were we talking about?
Would you go? Would you? Are you?
What did
Would
you
you
ask?
go to a Dallas Wings? Are you considering going to a
Oh,
Dallas Wings game anytime soon?
look, I like to consume good sports. I don't care what it is. I'll watch darts, right? I'll watch snooker if it's got good competition. Like I don't care. I just want to watch good quality competitive sports in any line. Okay, that's that. Number two, I would love if the WNBA would become relevant and stop being, for lack of better terms, such a money suck on the NBA. Because everybody knows the NBA subsidizes the WNBA. It's year in, year out, fiscally a loser. And I want that to change because there's so many people that bitch year over year about, why aren't women paid the same amount? Well, it's because they don't bring in money, whatever. We don't need to dive into
See,
that.
you hate women,
That's just the finance. I don't hate women. I love women. They just don't make
but
as much
but they should be
money. They
paid
don't make any
less.
money compared to the. No, they should be paid proportional. Proportional.
Okay.
Revenue dictates pay. Is CPA man, would you pay someone who, if someone cost you as an employee, they cost you, let's say $20,000 a year, would you pay them $100,000?
I don't know if I'm comfortable
Would you
answering
advise a
this.
business? Would you no? This is just a hypothetical. Would you advise a business owner to pay an employee $100,000 when you know for a fact that employee is going to lose them $20,000 in annual revenue?
I would not.
Okay, so there we go. The argument's the same. That's why I'm saying I love the amount of exposure, the amount of excitement that the Wings and the Fever are starting to get because the player quality is getting better. It just is. Caitlin Clark is revolutionizing the game. And I think that now that that's happened, like Steph Curry, for example, right? Steph Curry revolutionized the NBA for that size of player. He basically told all these littler guys that are 5'11 to 6'2, if you can handle the ball and shoot, you can play at a high level. Well, that's what Caitlin Clark's doing too, and that's how this is all perpetuating. And she's going to be the torch that's going to light the way for all these other women that have wanted to play but haven't for whatever reason, because she gives that hope, she gives that excitement, she gives that can do attitude, and she's fun to watch. She's a competitor and she's a winner. And I think we need more of that. So yes, I will most likely buy into some of these games, especially, the Wings, their local team, and I don't have a lot of love for the Mavericks right now, so might as well kick to the WNBA side of it.
Yeah. I think those are some good points. I do think the closest comp I have for it is when Ronda Rousey kind of revolutionized
Mhm.
people caring about the women's side of
Right.
UFC. This reminds me the most of that, where it really could be a turning point for the sport, honestly. So, and to think that we might have a piece of that here in Dallas, who is
Mhm.
extremely young and could be a centerpiece of the franchise for a long time, that's really exciting. So, yeah, man, just wanted to point that out. I'm definitely going to try and get to one of those games, and I'm actually really excited to go. Okay, let's hit Rangers real quick. I'm not going to touch anything Astros because we don't have time. So it seems to me like the collapse has continued, but I'll let you.
No, it has. Okay. So from the ashes, the phoenix will rise, right? So a couple things have happened. We've gone on a bit of a downturn. We are now below 500, which is not good. Fourth place in the division. But on March 4th, the Rangers axed the hitting coach.
Hmm.
On March 4th, the Rangers scored 8 runs, and then they scored 6 runs, and then 4 runs by the addition of the new hitting coach. So I'm really hoping that this new hitting coach is bringing in a new something. I don't know what it is, but the pitching's still been great. I mean, over the last, minus the Mariners' 13-run absolute explosion on May 2nd, the Rangers have given up one, two, three, five, 7 runs over the last 6 games. That's pretty damn
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Save that 13 run just outlier.
yeah.
The pitching has been incredible. So as long as the pitching can do what it's been doing and be steady, and the closers are good and the starters are good, if this new hitting coach can get us to scoring 3, 4, 5 runs on average, I think there's a really good chance that we'll have a couple of those games where the pitching just takes a shit. But I think we'll win 3 out of every 5 games. And while that's not great, I think that'll be enough to get us out of the slump and as they get better. But Evan Carter's back, baby. They brought Evan Carter back from Round Rock, and I was super bummed when the season started. And they decimated him down, so I'm really glad to see him back. And I think that his youth and just ability to make plays at the plate and how good he is in the outfield, I think he'll bring an extra spark to the team.
Lone Star Series kicks off a week from today here in Arlington. So we're almost there. That's going to be fun. We're going to talk a lot about that. So switching gears again, we do have the PGA Championship coming up. So we'll talk
Yep.
more about that next week. But I did want to start thinking about rules and how we're going to draft and see if there's any changes we want to make or how we want to proceed, right? Because so for the Masters, we did, we left it as basically an open pool, right? And we said, okay,
Yep.
draft a couple guys, draft one guy from Live, draft a couple guys outside the top 20, and draft one foreign player. Um, which I'm fine. I'm fine repeating unless there's anything there that you want to change.
I mean, I think we can do that, or maybe we can have a couple different drafts within the draft. So we do like only live guys, only PGA guys, only, sub 50 guys. I don't know, mix it up, have a couple, and then do like a composite score.
Creating a lot of
I
work
just
for
want to
us,
give you
man.
more opportunities to try to win.
You
I,
just
I know, but I know I want to give you as much opportunity to win as you can because I know that you need as much help as you can get. That's really all it boils down to.
creating a lot of work. Okay, because my main question was going to be if we were to keep the same structure, right? We said, okay, we're just going to run it back and
Yeah.
draft the same way. My question was going to be, okay, do we want to exclude any guys that have been selected this year? Right? So we
Ooh,
can't take Rory
eliminations,
again.
right?
We can't take Bryson. We can't take Scheffler. All those guys are out.
I like that. I like that a lot because that's gonna really limit the pool. And but that's going to allow us to pick the guys that we passed on, like the JTs and those players. So I like that. Okay, good. Eliminate the people that we've already drafted.
That's going to make it really, really interesting and make some of this a little bit difficult. So I just wanted to clarify because if we are going to have to draft next week. I'm gonna have to do some serious thought this time because a lot of guys that where it's going to get a lot more difficult filling some of these holes with guys that I can be confident in. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research and spend some time going up and down. So I just wanted to clarify so that we're clear on the rules and we come in
Yeah.
here. There's no excuses from you. That way, when I when I draft another team that hopefully doesn't choke this time, it's a legitimate win.
Uh, do you want to remind everybody that I let you have first pick because you were the one that's putting this all together? And or excuse me, you gave me first pick, so I took it. But what did I do? What did I do? Ron, you want to remember me? Because I'm pretty sure I specifically and purposefully skipped Scotty, took John Rahm, so you can have the number one overall player on the board because that's who I am. I'm a nice guy.
Oh man, you okay? Okay. There's no way to redeem myself besides just winning this time. So I'm not gonna make
Exactly.
excuses for the past. The result is the result. So yeah, we'll see. I will actually not be around. I will be in Mexico for the PGA Championship, but I trust my team. I'm gonna coach them up next week, and they're gonna
Good.
be in a position to win without me. Okay.
Love
Anything
that.
else?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, just let me know whenever we're going to record that. Oh, so side note, aside from all this, I sent you a link last week from I met with a girl named Brittany Hendry, who's a Master Networks, and her husband does streaming, but he does like video game streaming. And she sent me the platform, and so I sent it over to you. It's like immediate monetization, so there's a chance to make like quicker money on it. The only caveat is you have to record 30 hours a month.
Shit.
Yeah. So that would be a little more difficult because, we do this once a week. We would have to do it like a lot more and submit and yeah. So anywho, that's that. And they would all be live recordings as opposed to pre-recorded like this and then uploaded. But anyways, thought that'd be interesting. Did you look any more into some of those other platforms? I know you did the trial for that live broadcast we did for the draft.
Hope I canceled that because that was really expensive. No, I have one on my list that I still need to look at that it looks promising, but I need to actually vet it out. Maybe we actually need to do a test run here soon. So more to come.
Great. No, that's the only thing I really want to talk about. Oh, the Streets Festival that I talked about the last few weeks. It was amazing. Somebody didn't come like they said they would, but that's okay. His dog was sick. Anytime there's a puppy involved that doesn't feel well, I'll always give that a pass. Kid, not so much. Dog, every time. But it was like the biggest one we've had probably since 2021 when people realized they could get back out of the house after COVID. And prior to that, it was the biggest one since like 2018. So it was a huge event. We had great success, and I am looking very forward to next year. So make sure that you schedule your dog and not have any tummy issues next year. Okay,
I'll let him know, man. I'll tell him.
I appreciate that. It's important that we had that conversation with them. You got any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
No, next week will be busy again. So we already mentioned we'll get deep into the PGA Championship. Stars will be ongoing, NBA playoffs will be ongoing, and then we should probably preview the first part of the Lone Star series between the Astros
Yes,
and the Rangers. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Next week's a fun show. I'm already looking forward to it.
indeed. Well, if there's nothing else for Ron Hearn, I'm Brandon Cooley, and as always, the next round's on us.